Afghanistan, Day 13. AK fire wakes me. I should know I'll never get a decent amount of sleep around here. It sounds different this time. Not like a firefight, but more like, well, like I don't know what. I roll out the back of the truck with my Dragunov to see what the girls have found to fire at. I look towards the entrance to the canyon and I see a shepherd and a bunch of sheep heading into the canyon. The girls are firing, trying to keep them away from the improvised claymore I set partway into the canyon. Instead of having him retreat, they have him confused and the sheep scared. I take off running towards the claymore, hoping to beat him and the sheep to the tripwire. Yelling like a madman, I also hope to scare them back. The scumsucker must think I'm a demented madman because he pulls out an old rifle and starts firing at me. Thank God he's a bad shot, and I don't have to dodge much. I try to remember exactly where the tripwire is and calculate whether I'm going to get to the wire first or one of his sheep. Oh no. One of his sheep is almost ready to hit the tripwire, so I pull up the Dragunov and blast the hell out of the sheep. This pisses the shepherd off even more, and he's yelling and firing at me more than ever. I reach the claymore just in time to grab the tripwire so it won't go off. The shepherd is running towards me, yelling and waving a big knife. I guess he ran out of ammo. He is almost on me as I disconnect the tripwire. I wait for him to reach me. He runs up and swings the knife. I dodge it, grab his arm, throw him to the ground and hold him there. He's saying something, probably just cussing up a storm at me. Yasmin runs up and then starts talking and he begins to settle down. Ben, you can let him up now, Yasmin tells me. I let him up and he gives me a very dirty look and then spits on the ground in disgust. From the tone in her voice, I can tell Yasmin is ripping him a new a-hole. She grabs him, points to the improvised claymore, and makes a bunch of motions with her hands. I can tell by his expression that he finally understands and says some things to Yasmin. Ben, he says he is sorry for shooting at you and for trying to kill you with the knife. But these sheep are how he feeds his very large family. Yasmin, ask him for his name and tell him I'm sorry I had to kill the sheep. Their conversation continues. His name is Elham, and he is glad you saved his life. Tell him we will pay him for his sheep, and he can have the meat for his family. Then that is a very good thing, and he will be happy. Yasmin tells him, and he is very happy, shaking my hand and jabbering at me. Breaking off the handshake, I comment, Yasmin, we need to have something to eat and get ready to travel for the night. Start making dinner, and I will take down the rest of the booby trap. She says a few more things to Elham and takes off. As I disassemble the improvised claymore and start walking back to the truck, he follows me, jabbering the whole time. We reach the truck and I tell Yasmin, pay Elham, so he will leave me the hell alone. I'm tired of hearing all of his yammering. She laughs, goes in the truck, comes out with some money, and hands it to him. They both start jabbering again, annoying me. I interrupt, Yasmin, I'm going to go relieve Zarika so she can help you with the cooking. I go to the back of the truck, load up with some more weapons, and head up the hill towards Zarika. Ben, thank you for coming up here. I need to take a break, she says. Zarika, please go down and help Yasmin with dinner and I'll stand guard. She starts to pick up all her weapons. Don't bother with those. I'll bring them down later. Zarika hugs me and leaves. Finally, I have some peace. I turn as I scan the area with my binoculars and see a large amount of dust coming up the road. This canyon is quite a way off the road and we hid the tracks well, so well the shepherd didn't notice them, so I'm not too concerned about being discovered. I hunker down and decide to just watch and wait. The closer the dust gets, the more unsettled I feel because this is way too much dust. I am so preoccupied watching the dust, I don't even hear the signal from the girls that the food is ready. I turn around to check on the truck and see Zarika climbing the hill with a plate of food. It's comical to watch her trying to negotiate the hill and not to spill the food. She finally reaches me, Ben. Why did you not come to dinner? We signaled you many times. I point to the dust. That plus a bad feeling is why. She turns and sees the dust. That has to be many trucks. Do you think we are safe? I signal for Yasmin to come up. She has the best eyes and I need them now. I shovel down my food, Ben. Do not eat so fast. You do not even take time to taste your food and you will get sick. Ignoring her, I finish dinner in 30 seconds. Yasmin reaches the top of the hill. Oh, look at all that dust. Ben, may I have the binoculars? I chuckle under my breath. Here are the binoculars. I hope you can see more with them than I can. Yasmin spends a couple minutes looking and finally says, I see a big bunch of trucks. What do you call that, a Voicon? I think you mean convoy. Can you see anything else about them? She keeps looking and announces, they have a sort of round blue thingy on the door. I take the binoculars, look and can barely see what she sees. Damn, she has good eyes. I hand the binoculars back to her. I need to think. Zarika, Please take some weapons and go to the other side of the canyon. I don't think they will come in here, but I want to be ready just in case. Yes, sir, Zarika says with a laugh and takes off. I scratch my chin and think to myself that something just isn't right. Those look to be UN trucks, but my gut tells me they wouldn't have a convoy in this part of Afghanistan. The whole area is still under Taliban control. They are close enough that I can sort of see the drivers. They look to be assailants. Yasmin informs me. I count 10 trucks and at the front they have a, what do they call those? A dummer. I think you mean Hummer or Humvee. Thank you, Yasmin. Your eyes have given us an advantage again. I take the binoculars back and look closely. Damn. My eyes must be getting bad. I do see that they look something like UN vehicles and she's right. The drivers don't look quite right either. We watch as they pass by the front of the canyon and continue down the road. They are definitely not UN troops driving the vehicles. I'm sure they are Taliban and my curiosity is piqued about what they are carrying and where they are going. However, I'm not stupid enough to chase after them to find out. We wait until the light has almost faded and head down to the truck. Then, who were those assailants driving the trucks? Zarika asks. Those were UN trucks, but I think it was Taliban that were driving them. We will need to be careful that we don't run into them. Well, let's hit the road. Yasmin says, would not that hurt your hand if you hit the road? Zarika says, that's a saying meaning let us go. I do not think I will ever learn all these funny sayings. Yasmin pouts and reminds me of Jens. We climb into the truck, the girls settle in, and we head out for tonight's drive. Zarika smiles at me. Ben, sing us a song so we can go to sleep. I tuck the blankets around the girls and start. Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty-night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me. While I'm alone, blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me. The girls are tired and fall right to sleep and I decide that this song is definitely the wrong song to sing tonight. My mind starts remembering Jens and how much I miss her. It hurts so badly that I feel physical pain in my heart. My mind wanders and it's almost like I can see her again. But the same sad image of her and being upset, being in a small gray room and exercising seems to appear before my eyes. I cannot get this image out of my mind. What the hell does it mean and why do I keep seeing it? Reality snaps me out of my vision, or whatever the hell it is. There's another Gorodak ahead. I can't make up my mind whether to wake the girls or not, so I decide I'm going to let them sleep. I slow slightly as we head through the Gorodak, and this time we make it through with no problems. I relax and heave a sigh of relief. I keep a very close eye on the rearview mirrors to make sure that we don't pick up a tail. I scold myself for forgetting to ask Yasmin about the truck scaring the locals and traveling during the day. It seems as if I forget too many things lately. Jens would bite my butt if she was here. I round a blind curve hidden by a hill and see a bunch of vehicle lights ahead. I quickly kill our lights, kick the truck out of gear, and let it roll to a stop so the brake lights don't alert anyone ahead of us. The stopping truck wakes up Zarika. Then why are we stopping? I think the convoy we saw earlier is ahead of us. She sits up and sees the lights of the vehicles. Did they see us? They're pretty far away, probably 2 clicks, so I don't think so. Otherwise, they'd coming after us. What are we going to do? She asks. First, I'm going to disable the tail lights on this truck, and then we'll talk about the rest of my plan. I make sure to turn off the dome light on the truck and hop out the door. I rummage around behind the seat in the toolbox, find a pair of wire cutters, and cut the wires for both tail lights. I scold myself again for not doing this when we first commandeered the truck. I find my flashlight with the red lens and instruct Zarika, get in the driver's seat. I'm going to get some gear out of the back, and then I will use this flashlight very close to the ground so others can't see the light. You will turn the truck around and follow me until we're past the hill, and they can't see us. If you see any of the trucks move, get the hell out of here. I load up as much gear as my still weak body will let me carry and walk around to the front of the truck, put the flashlight close to the ground and scan the area. The road is good here, so I don't think we will have any problems. Zarika turns the truck around, and we slowly drive back down the road. I keep a close eye on the convoy until we can't see them anymore. Finally, I heave a sigh of relief and walk up to the driver's door. Zarika, wake up Yasmin. We need her to hide the truck tracks. Turn the lights on and let's see if we can find some place to hide this truck. Yasmin grumbles as she's awakened. Do not tell me something else is happening. I will look old if I do not get enough sleep. I chuckle to myself thinking how can anyone so young be thinking about beauty sleep? There seems to be a little road over here. Let's follow it. I tell Zarika and hop on the running board of the truck. She slowly maneuvers the truck onto the side road. We travel about 3 clicks and find a nice place to hide the truck. I'm climbing to the top of the hill, and I'm going to reconnoiter the convoy. I tell them, "Ben, I will come with you." Zarika says, Me too. Me too. Yasmin repeats. Who's going to stay here and guard the truck if you both come with me? I am faster than Zarika, so I should come. Yasmin announces. I am a better shot, so I should come. Zarika counters. Yasmin, I think you will stay and guard the truck. It's a bigger honor, and you did such a good job last time. Maybe I should stay? Zarika says. Too late, I already made up my mind. Yasmin will guard the truck as Zarika will be my pack donkey. Zarika will come with me. Yasmin says in a sing-song voice, Zarika is the pack donkey. I get to guard the truck. I am not the pack donkey. Zarika announces. I don't want this to degenerate into a full-blown argument, so I interrupt. We've wasted enough time. Let's get some gear and get moving. We move to the back of the truck, and I load Zarika with a bunch of gear. I hope we don't have to take off running because we are both carrying our limit. Yasmin, make sure you stay awake and keep the lights off. If anyone comes up to the truck, shoot them, I say as Zarika and I head up the hill. When we've gone far enough from the truck that Yasmin can't hear, Zarika says, Ben, you did not fool me with the guarding the truck as a bigger honor and calling me the pack donkey. It was nice that you did that for my little sister so she wouldn't feel left out. Damn, did that remind me of something Yince would say. You're half right. I wasn't going to bring either of you, but decided I wanted you to help carry some ammo, so you were sort of the pack donkey. After we get to the top of the hill, I'm sending you back to the truck, and I don't want any arguing. Bullshit. Zarika says. Hey, it's not good for young ladies to swear, and besides you said it wrong. I scold her. You will go back to the truck. We're almost to the top, and I hit the dirt and start crawling. Zarika does the same. We reach the top of the hill, and I can see the lights from the convoy. I unsling the Chinese M99 sniper rifle and mess around with the scope until I figure out how to turn on the night vision part. I look through the scope. Shit, it's only Gen 1 night vision. Oh well, it is better than the IR scope on the Dragunov. Ben, what do you see? Zarika asks. I turn on the IR scope on the Dragunov and hand it to her. Here you go. Look through this and let me know what you think. As we're both looking through the scope, she says, Ben, it looks like they are loading things into the truck from an airplane. She's right. I see them moving what looks to be boxes of weapons from an airplane into the trucks. I scan the trucks and it doesn't look like there are very many troops. I estimate maybe 30. Zarika, get back to the truck and help Yasmin guard it. I'm going to start shooting these assailants, I order. I will not. I am going to shoot them too. With that statement, she fires the Dragunov and surprisingly hits one of the assailants. There will be time to spank her, but later. Now I need to get busy. I have no idea how this piece of crap Chinese rifle will work, or even how it is sighted in, but I give it my best guess and fire. Amazingly, the rifle doesn't blow up and I hit the assailant about a half a foot lower than where I aim. It doesn't much matter since the 12.7mm round blows him to hell, tossing him up in the air just like shooting prairie dogs on the plains of Colorado. I fed another round into the rifle. Damn, this bolt is stiff as hell. Line up on the next assailant and fire. Again, hoping this rifle holds together. It does, and he goes flying through the air. This is just like using our .50 BMGs in Operation Anaconda. Zarika keeps firing and is hitting about every fourth shot. They are able to figure out our position from the muzzle flash of this piece of crap Chinese rifle. I start returning their fire. I order, Zarika, you get the hell out of here right now and don't give me any shit. She ignores my order, grabs an RPG, and blows the hell out of one of the trucks. It must have ammo in it, because as it starts burning you can hear the rounds popping off. I grab another RPG and nail another truck. This one must have been carrying explosive ordnance because the truck and the adjacent trucks on either side erupt in a huge explosion that shakes the ground and lights up the whole night with its fireball. It dazes the assailants that are close. With the flash from the RPGs, they no longer have any doubt about our position and are making a hell of an effort to shoot us. The rounds are getting closer all the time. Zarika, you need to leave now. She still ignores my order and keeps firing the Dragunov at the assailants. I decide that the RPGs are the best way to take out the trucks, so I load up the launcher and take out another truck. This one must have carried supplies because it just caught fire. They get wise, so the front trucks start taking off and the plane starts its engines. Shit, I want that plane. Zarika, we need to destroy that plane. Do you have any more rockets? Yes, Ben, I have one. She scoots close to me with the rocket. I load up the launcher and take aim as the plane is starting to move and let it fly. We both watch as the rocket slams into the plane, blows a big hole in the side, and the plane shudders to a stop. We watch as the remaining trucks disappear into the night. I bring up my M99 and start finishing off the assailants left behind. Some of them finally give up trying to shoot us and run off into the desert. I hit as many as I can as they are running away. We wait for a while looking for movement but don't see anything. I think we need to get out of here. And you young lady are in serious trouble for not listening to my orders. Zarika, give me a raspberry. If you were my husband, I would do as you told me, but you are my big brother, and I do not have to listen to you. Did you forget what the assailants did to me? I have more reasons to kill them than you do. She is right, but she also has to obey orders, so I'm not sure how I will handle this. I was so sick from spanking them the last time that I don't ever want to do that again. About the only thing I can think of is banishing her to the back of the truck. As we head down the hill, and I don't even talk to her. Then say something to me. Zarika asks. I decide that maybe I'll try the silent treatment. I remember when Jugs, I haven't thought about her in a long time, used to pull the silent treatment on me. It really bothered the hell out of me. That's it. I won't say anything. Ben, why won't you talk to me? She keeps pleading with me all the way to the truck, but I totally ignore her. Dawn is coming as we get to the truck. Yasmin runs up. I heard all the noise and was worried you two might be hurt. I am so happy to see both of you. Was it a good battle? It was an excellent battle, and we sent many assailants to hell. I answer. Yasmin looks at Zarika and sees she is upset. What's wrong, big sister? Ben won't talk to me. Yasmin also gets upset. Ben, why are you being mean to Zarika? Yasmin, don't get me upset with you too. Zarika was a very bad girl, did not listen to my orders, and put us both in danger. I am very angry with her, and if I say anything to her it will be ugly. So I have decided since she will not listen and follow orders, then there is no reason for me to talk to her. I then take the weapons to the back of the truck. Of course I listen to what the girls say. Zarika, did you do what Ben said? Yes, I did. He wanted me to come back to the truck, and I wanted to stay and help him. I did not want to just be his donkey. I don't remember ever hearing Yasmin get so angry before. I wish I knew what she said, but she slipped into their native language. It sounds like she ripped her up one side and down the other. She keeps it up for about 5 minutes and finally comes to the back of the truck. She was a very bad girl and I told her on for you. I puzzle for a few moments with what she said but finally figure out the problem. You mean you told her off for me? Yasmin sighs. I do not think I will ever understand these crazy American sayings. Zarika walks up. Then I am sorry for what I did. I look at Yasmin, tell Zarika that I do not believe she is sorry, and until I am sure she is sorry and I am convinced she will always obey my orders, I will not forgive her or talk to her. Tell her she will be riding in the back of the truck until then. Yasmin looks at me as if I am crazy, and then figures it out and repeats my words to Zarika. Zarika defiantly says, I heard him, and you don't have to repeat his words. Then she climbs into the back of the truck. Yasmin, we destroyed several trucks from the convoy and damaged the airplane. We will need to be very alert as we drive by them because there might be assailants that are still alive. I will be alert too. Zarika grumps from the back of the truck. I chuckle under my breath as I walk towards the driver's seat. Hell yes, I'm being mean. But I have to teach her to obey me, and this is my form of giving her office time. I would do the same thing with any Marine under my command. We were lucky with the convoy since there were so few soldiers. If one of those trucks had been carrying troops, it might have ended differently. I did smile as I thought about what a hell of a little warrior she's become. We climb in the cab and I say loudly, Yasmin, I'm very proud of you. You followed my orders and did an excellent job guarding the truck. I know you wanted to come and help when you heard the fight, but guarding the truck was more important. Yasmin smiles at me. Damn, it reminds me of Jens. Ben, you were right. I almost came when I heard the fight, but I knew if we lost the truck we would die. I hear a little sniffle from the back of the truck, and Yasmin gives me a sad look. I shake my head no and start up the truck. Ben, will we stop and look at the trucks and airplane? I've never seen an airplane up close. Yasmin asks. I had been wondering that myself. I think we will play it by ear and see what things are like when we get there. Yasmin starts pulling on her ear. I do not understand about playing with my ears. How does that answer my question? Zarika yells from the back. It is another silly saying. It does not mean playing with your ears. It means that we will wait and see what happens and decide what to do then. Oh, then why did you not just say that? These sayings are so confusing. Someday I hope to understand them like my big sister does. Yasmin announces. There is enough daylight to see, and since I don't need the truck lights anymore, I turn them off. We round the hill and I stop. Yasmin, you drive. I want to climb on the roof and watch for any live assailants. You can tell Zarika she needs to sit up front with you. I barely make it out of the truck before Zarika is climbing into the cab. I can tell she does not like riding in the back. I walk around back, grab a couple of RPGs, some grenades, some mags for my Dragunov, and climb up on top of the truck. I stand up and scan the destroyed convoy with the binoculars. It's a mess and will not be easy to drive through. I watch closely and see some movement, but it's only an injured assailant. I hop off the roof. Yasmin, it's a big mess and we need to change plans. I will drive, and you will ride in the passenger seat, and Zarika will be in the back. There are some assailants that are wounded but still alive, and they will probably fire at us. She looks over at Zarika. Zarika flips me the bird and climbs in the back of the truck. Zarika, shame on you. Yasmin scolds. Zarika's hand comes back into the cab, and she gives Yasmin the finger. Bad girl. Yasmin scolds. I bite my lips to keep from laughing because it will encourage Zarika and offend Yasmin. It's damn complicated with these two, and I always feel like I'm a half step behind them. I should have known that Zarika would not listen to me and follow orders. Okay, Yasmin, get ready and tell Zarika that she needs to be ready. I have been ready longer than you have. Zarika yells from the back of the truck. Ben, will we help the hurt assailants? Yasmin asks. Damn, I don't want to deal with the wounded. Yasmin, I think the ones that will survive took off into the desert already. She looks at me, and I know I cannot let her see the wounded. Damn, what to do. Yasmin, I have changed my mind again. You will drive us close to the convoy, and I will get out and check things out by myself. When I signal, you two will come and pick me up. You will need to switch places, Zarika will drive, and you will be in the back of the truck and watch for anyone coming up from behind. I drive us about a click from the destroyed convoy, stop, climb in the back, and start loading up. I'm glad to be done for a while with the M99. I don't trust that rifle. Yasmin, use those eyes of yours to watch behind the truck, and tell Zarika not to sleep but to watch in case the convoy comes back. You will probably hear some gunfire. Do not get worried. I bail out the back and start trotting up the road. My strength is gradually returning and I can feel it now. I've barely had any time to do exercises, so it must be all the fighting we've done. I slow as I approach the convoy and start working my way closer using natural cover. Things are really screwed up and I'm glad the girls, especially Yasmin, can't see this. I see some movement off to the side and crouch behind some bushes to watch. It's a wounded assailant trying to crawl. I bring up the Dragunov and put him out of his misery. The report wakes up the others that are wounded, and I hear a bunch of calling. I count 4 distinct voices and try to mark their locations. I slip closer, and a shot rings out, almost clipping my shoulder, and reveals his location. I work my way around until I can see him. I'm close enough I can pull my pistol to dispatch him. That stirs the rest of them up, and they are yelling, which just makes them easier to find. But I'm going to be more careful this time. The next assailant is so badly injured he can't even move. I sneak up on him and pull my K-bar to end his misery. The other 2 are still making noise, so it's easy to find them. I come up to one of them and he starts firing. I wait until I hear a click of an empty weapon and jump out and nail him. The last one stops making noise and I figure I can find him later. Since I want to check out the plane, I carefully head towards the hole in the side of the plane and peer in. The plane is full of weapons and supplies with Chinese markings on the boxes. I throw a couple of incendiary grenades into the plane and take off running. I just start searching for the last survivor when I hear our truck coming with the horn beeping. Zarika slides the truck to a stop and I jump in. Ben, there's dust coming behind us. She floors it and takes off. Yasmin, what do you see back there? She sticks her head into the cab and scares the crap out of me. I see a big cloud of dust coming up the road. Give me your binoculars and I will look more. Ben, it looks like another big bunch of trucks are coming up the road. Yasmin announces. As we drive by the mess of convoy and burning plane, the last wounded assailant starts firing at us and Yasmin shoots from the back of the truck. Ben, I killed the assailant. Good job, Yasmin. He was too sick to live anyway. I say, trying to make her feel better. Zarika, we need to switch places while we're driving like you did with Yasmin. Okay, Ben, I am ready. I grab the wheel, start steering, and slip my foot on the accelerator. Zarika pushes herself up and I slide under the wheel. She plops on the seat and starts to ready her AK. I need to get far away from the convoy and the plane so we can hide until dark. I'm sure the plane had a radio, and they must have called for help. Yasmin, tell me what you see. The dust is gone. I think the other trucks stopped at the convoy. I feel relieved. Okay, Yasmin, I need your eyes up here to look for a place to hide. Zarika, you keep a watch behind us. I don't think they will stay stopped for very long. I look over, and this time Zarika looks like she really is sorry. I say, Zarika, you did a very good job driving the truck to pick me up. She turns and smiles at me. I am very sorry, Ben, and I will try to listen to your orders again. But I get so excited when we fight the assailants. We travel for an hour and a half until we find a good place to hide. This one is even further off the road than we've been before. Even so, I have Yasmin and Zarika wipe out our tracks. After they're finished, I go back and double-check it while they fix a meal. I set 2 improvised claymores before heading back to the truck. I sit down to eat and realize how tired I am, and just play with my food instead of eating it. Ben, you need to eat your food. Yasmin tells me. I'm not hungry. I'm just tired and I want to go to sleep. You will sleep better with some food in your stomach. Now don't complain and eat all of it. My heart is breaking because she reminds me of how Yince takes care of me. I force myself to eat and then fall asleep in the back of the truck, and the dreams of Yince continue. Afghanistan and NALTS, Sunday day 37, Monday day 38. Yince slept like crap last night, and because she didn't sleep well, I didn't sleep well either. She tossed, turned, and moaned all night long. I was up before dawn, long before anyone else. I slipped out of bed, pulled on my clothes, turned on my flashlight, and gently woke Liz and the crew. I whispered, "Get your cameras and follow me." Liz whispered back, "What the hell are you going to do this time?" "Follow me and find out." I answered as I found my guitar and amp and went outside to the top of our bunker. I checked my watch. It was about half an hour to sunrise and gave me just enough time to set up my surprise. I wandered into the barracks, found all the amps I could, and rousted their owners. I told them my plan. They laughed and helped me haul all the amps to the top of the bunker. When we hooked up the power, I wasn't sure that we weren't going to blow a breaker. Then we daisy-chained all the inputs together. I tuned up the Fender Strat and plugged into the amps and waited. Just as sunrise started, I pulled on my ear protectors and waited. The other Marines nodded. When the morning call to prayer started, I played the opening notes of the Star-Spangled Banner, Jimi Hendrix style. The sound level was so extreme it shook the whole top of the bunker, and I could feel the notes vibrate my guts. Even with the ear protection, it still hurt my ears. The Marines in front of the bunker plugged their ears and grinned. The whole base awakened. Yince ripped out of the bunker and plugged her ears too. Marines poured out of the barracks thinking they were under attack. But once they realized what was happening, they started clapping. The BCO and second ran up, plugged their ears, and were yelling at me, but I couldn't hear them. I finished the song, shut things down, and pulled off my ear protectors. All the Marines, except the brass, started clapping and cheering. The BCO said something to the second and stormed away. The second came up to me. "SM Blaine, you have 10 minutes to be in the BCO's office." Yince ran up. "SM Blaine, that was a hell of a way to wake me up. You scared the crap out of me." I handed her the guitar and asked, "Sergeant Donaldson, will you pack this and the amps away for me? I need to get my butt to the BCO's office." "Do you think you're in trouble?" she asked. I looked at the brass storming away and answered, "Oh yeah, I'm in big trouble this time." Yince turned and yelled, "Liz, I need you." Liz ran up. "What's wrong?" "SM Blaine's little stunt has gotten him into trouble, and we're going to the BCO's office together. Can you take care of his guitar and amp?" Liz looked at me. It was a great stunt, and we caught all of it on video. I can only imagine how much the brass was not impressed. "Let's get someone else to take care of things, and I'll come along and see if I can smooth things over." I looked out and saw Gunny Horton. "Gunny, get your butt over here." He runs up laughing. "SM Blaine, that was a hell of a prank. I was wondering what you would pull this time. What can I do for you?" It seems that the BCO wasn't amused and wants me in his office in 10 minutes. "I need you to take care of my guitar and the amps. This is my amp and the others are borrowed. Their owners will come and get them," I said as I handed him my guitar. "Damn, Ben, won't you ever learn? It seems like every time you're assigned to a new base you do some prank that gets your butt in trouble." Gunny told me. "I just want to make sure they know I'm here." "Well, you'd better haul. If you're late, the BCO will chew your butt so bad that you won't have anything left. He's going to have 2 butts to chew because we're a team and I'm coming too," Yince said. Gunny looked at Yince. "Damn, Ben, you're right. She's a real hellcat." Yince grinned and I said to her, "I think you're crazy, Sergeant Donaldson. But if that's what you want to do, then let's go." We broke into a trot and headed to the BCO's new office. I glanced over and saw Liz and one of the crew following us. As we ran to meet with the BCO, the other Marines were still clapping and cheering. "That was awesome. Way to go, SM. For once we didn't have to listen to that crap." We made it to the office with time to spare, and I leaned over and said to Yince before we walked in, "Thanks for coming, but this was my prank and this is my fight. Do me a big favor and keep your mouth shut." She whispered back, "I love and live to serve you." We walked into the outer office and taken right into the BCO's office. He was sitting down, and the second was standing beside him. The BCO looked at Yince. "Sergeant Donaldson, you are not part of this and you are excused." "Sir, we are a team, and as a team, if one of us is in trouble, both of us are in trouble," Yince replied. "Suit yourself. SM Blaine, what the hell were you thinking pulling this ridiculous stunt? You woke up the entire base and caused an uproar across the city. Do you have any idea how many complaints we've already received? That was one of the most foolish things I've ever seen anyone do." I expected better judgment from you. So, what do you have to say for yourself? Sir, I don't know what I was thinking. Sir, I answered. That's right. You weren't thinking, were you? No, sir. I was not thinking. Sir. He looked at the second. Captain Castor dismissed. Captain Cast left the room, and after the door closed, the BCO said, Shit, Ben and Sergeant Donaldson, sit down. That was one hell of a stunt, and while I have to reprimand you in public, I can tell you I'm proud as hell of what you did. It's great to be under your command again, Colonel Rowe, I replied. Yince was blinking her eyes as if she couldn't believe what had just happened until I looked at her and said, Colonel Rowe and I go way back. Colonel Rowe continued, I've known Ben since he joined the Corps, and I knew he was going to pull some sort of stunt. He always does. Excuse me, sir, but isn't SM Blaine in trouble? Yince asked. He laughed. Well, I will have to reprimand him, and I guess you also since you're a team. But what he did was great for the morale of the troops, and he has my thanks for that. I looked at Colonel Rowe. So, office time one? One Marine's equivalent to Article 15. He laughed. Normally you'd have a good dose of office time. But you lucked out because you two leave on a mission tonight, and you won't have the opportunity to serve office time. Colonel Rowe made a call on the intercom, and a spook and the commanding general of the theater were escorted into the office. Yince and I both snapped to attention. The general said, At ease. This is Sam, and he's going to brief you on your mission. Is this office secure? Sam asked. Colonel Rowe looked at him with distaste. As secure as it can be. You can either brief them here or forget about it. Sam explained that they needed reconnaissance on a hostile base located in a country that prohibited foreign military operations. While they had satellite photos, the images didn't provide sufficient evidence. Our mission was to scout the base and capture images of any high-ranking personnel. Intelligence suggested this base was a primary training ground for enemy forces targeting our troops. It was a critical assignment. Hell, I hate spooks. I looked at Sam and said, What are the rules of engagement on this mission? Sam smiled and answered, You are to take pictures, and that is all we are authorizing. However, should certain targets of opportunity appear, it wouldn't bother us if they were dispatched. He slid a folder across the table to us. We opened the folder and started looking at the pictures. I looked at Yince because we both recognized all the pictures in the folder. I know you already have an entrance plan, but I want to make sure that we have an exit plan. We're not going on this mission until we're both sure we can get back out. I said. The general cleared his throat. I will personally guarantee that unless you are captured, we will do whatever it takes to get both of you out of the country. How about the ability to resupply if we need it? I questioned. It's too risky to run flights in to resupply you too. You will be dropped in the country with all you can carry and one pallet of supplies. The general said. I didn't much like this mission, and I said as I looked at Yince, Sir, before we decide, I'd like a chance to speak alone with Sergeant Donaldson for about 5 minutes. They stood up and left the office. Well, Yince, what do you think about this mission? She bit her lip. It's an important mission, but it's dangerous as hell. I want to run some simulations on my laptop before we decide. Why don't you run and get your laptop and bring it back here? Then we can tell them what we need and modify their plan so it will work. I answered. Yince gave me a big hug and said, I'll be right back. Entertain the brass while I'm gone. Everyone walked back in and I said, Sergeant Donaldson would like to run some simulations of this mission and needs to get her laptop. Does anyone have problems with her leaving to go get it? Sam started complaining until the general told him to shut the hell up, and Yince took off to get the laptop. We all sat down and the general said, That was a hell of reveille you played for us this morning. Thank you, sir. I don't know what I was thinking when I did that stunt. I've read your service record and I know exactly what you were thinking, and I know that you planned this. So cut the crap, and let me tell you, we all appreciate the morale boost you gave the troops. And I've made sure none of this goes in either of your records. There was a knock on the door and Yince came in with the laptop. She sat it up on the table and fired it up. I don't know if I trust Sergeant Donaldson with running a simulation of this mission on a laptop. Sam complained. Yince looked at him. You're not military, so that's Dr. Donaldson to you. I either get to run the simulations on my laptop and refine your half plan, or we don't take the mission, and you can go find someone else to be your cannon fodder. He shut up, and everyone watched as Yince entered all the parameters and ran the mission simulation. With their plan, the mission failed over half the time, and the computer was playing the funeral dirge. Yince looked at Sam. I thought so. This is a half-baked, half-bogus piece of bullshit tactical plan. We die half the time, and a fourth of the time we don't even get into the country without dying first. Are you trying to get us killed? She was pissed off. Do you really trust this computer to tell you if the mission will be a success or not? Sam asked. I sure as hell do. I wrote this program for my doctoral thesis, and it's way more accurate than anything the military or you spooks have. I promised SM Blaine that we never go on a mission unless the computer gives us a 90% success rate. Anything else is suicide, Jens said. So this means you're refusing the mission? Sam continued. Hell no. If we refuse this mission, you'll just take this piece of shit tactical plan and use it to get others killed. Leave me the hell alone while I modify this shitty plan into something that will work, Jens ordered. I looked at the others. I think we need to go and get a cup of coffee and let Sergeant Donaldson do some work. I'd like a cup of coffee too, please, Jens requested. The colonel had his aide bring in a cup and a pot of coffee for Jens while we started to leave the room. Just remember, we can't say anything about this mission outside of this room, Sam said. I gave him a dirty look. I should kick your butt for even thinking we would be that stupid. You've looked at my record, and you know the missions I've been on. That's why you chose us. We're not amateurs, and we refuse to be treated as such. I turned to the general. If he says one more stupid thing, I'd like your permission to kick his butt and refuse the mission. The general laughed. Sam, you'd better just keep your mouth shut, or I'll let him do it. We went over to the mess and grabbed a cup of coffee. You should have seen the surprised look on everyone's faces when they saw all of us together. I was busy running lists of equipment through my head, so I didn't say much. Since I was hungry, I grabbed a plate of food and continued with my planning while I ate. I finished and said to the three, I'm going to grab some chow for Sergeant Donaldson, and then we should head back over. I loaded up a plate, threw a cover on it, and we walked back to the BCO's office. As we knocked and walked in, Jens turned and smiled at me. Thank you, SM Blaine, for bringing me some food. I'm starving. So how did the simulations go? I asked. She looked at us and said, I've got the success rate up to 91%. Good, let's see your plan. Sam asked. She gave him a dirty look. There's no way in hell that I'm letting you or anyone else not directly necessary for the mission see this plan. I don't want anything to leak out. The only thing I need from you is the camera equipment. General, we request that Sam be isolated until we return from our mission. He was going to complain when the general put his hand on his shoulder and said, Look, they're going to take your mission, and that's really all you need to know. I'll call some MPs to escort you and the camera gear over to the ready room. Jens looked at Colonel Rowe. Sir, no offense, but I would prefer that you didn't know the details of this mission either. He laughed and said, I can take a hint, and then he left the room. With everyone gone except for the general and me, Jens outlined her plan and told the general what we needed in the way of support from him. She then ran the scenario on her computer. The general laughed when he heard the wedding march as the mission succeeded. Glenn told me about you too, and I really didn't want to send you on this mission. But I figured that with your smarts and Ben's luck that you were the only two that could pull this off. It's going to take some work to get everything that you need set up, but this mission is important enough that I'll personally make sure that you get everything you need. Go to your bunker, grab your gear, and requisition everything you need. Then get your butts to the ready room and stay there until the mission starts. No talking to that news reporter of yours. The general ordered. We stood and shook hands. You two be careful and get us the information we need. Sir, we and my father will be counting on you to get us out when we call you, Jens said. We'll come and get you when you call. Just don't get captured, he ordered. We left the office and ran into Liz talking to the BCO. Hey, where have you guys been? I've been trying to get you out of trouble with Colonel Rowe. We've been busy, but we can't tell you anything about it, Jens said. Liz started to complain and I grinned and said, NALTS. We headed to the bunker and Liz tagged along. So you really can't tell me anything? Jens answered, That's right. All you need to know is we are going away for a while, and we don't even know how long. You'll have to entertain yourself here on the base. I gave her an evil grin. Just don't use our cots for your orgies. I don't want to have to burn them when we get back. I would never do that. Liz grumped and Jens and I both laughed. We got to the bunker and I looked at Liz and said, You and the crew need to stop taping us and make yourselves scarce. She didn't like it, but she did leave. Jens ran over, jumped into my arms and gave me a huge hug and kiss. Wow. There's never a dull moment with you around, and it looks like we're going on our first mission together. We spent about 5 minutes getting reacquainted, and then I said, We need to get moving. There's a bunch of gear I think we'll need. We started comparing notes and came up with a list of equipment and supplies. I looked at Jens. You know, we're only bringing enough supplies for a week. Any longer, and we're screwed. She cuddled up close to me. If it lasts longer than a week, we'll just have to live on love. Besides, you're getting a little fat and could stand to lose a few pounds. Look who's talking. I shot back and we ended up wrestling for a couple minutes. We checked and double-checked the gear from the bunker and headed out the door. Waiting outside for us was our chariot, a Humvee and 2 MPs. We're here to escort you to supply, and then the ready room, one of the MPs said. We humped the gear into the Humvee, headed over to supply, and told them what we wanted. The general was there making sure we received everything without any hassles. The rest of your gear will be here in 2 hours. It's being choppered in from Kabul. The general told us. Good luck and Godspeed. He shook our hands and the MPs took us to the ready room. Sam was in the ready room when we got there and showed us the camera gear. Jens took one look at it and said, "We're not taking your gear because we have our own gear which is comparable. I can't trust that your gear hasn't been bugged." Sam blew a gasket and said, "Why, you snotty little bit." He never finished the last word because I knocked his butt out. Damn, that felt good. I never did like the little scumsucker. I said. Since we were alone, Jens came over and gave me a hell of a kiss and squeezed my butt. I love it when you protect me. I went to the door and yelled for the MPs, call the general, and tell him Sam had an accident and needs to be kept in solitary until we get back. 10 minutes later, they hauled his butt off to the brig. There was nothing to do but wait, so Jens decided it was a great time to cuddle. We shared a bed and fell asleep holding each other. We awakened when they brought dinner to us. Enjoy your last meal. After this, it's MREs until we get back. Jens smiled and prayed. I even bowed my head and silently said, God, I don't know you, and I don't know how to do this, but please keep my Jens safe on this mission. I looked up and Jens was smiling at me. She had sensed my feelings. Thanks, dear, for praying for me. We finished the meal, cleaned up, put on fresh clothes, and continued cuddling until we heard the chopper arrive. It was pitch black when we jumped up, grabbed our gear, and headed out the door. The general handed us the rest of the gear we requested. We'll be monitoring this continually for calls from you. I checked and the gear pallet was loaded aboard the chopper, so we sat down and took the short ride to the airport. All the gear was loaded on board a modified Boeing 727 and we took off. I looked at Jens. I figure we have about 3 hours flight time, so I'm going to catch a nap. I think I will too. Then we both fell asleep. 2.5 hours later, we were awakened. Time for you two to get ready for your jump, the crew member said. We geared up, put on the chutes, and headed to the back of the 727 near the rear exit. Jens looked at me and said, I hope the ECM-2 boys did their job and the stealth fighters took out the power grid in this area. Otherwise, this is going to be a short mission. 2 electronic countermeasures. I was thinking the same thing as I felt the 727 slow and saw the back stairs start to lower. The wind was whipping around and blowing bits of crap out of the back of the plane. The jumpmaster was watching us. When the green light flashed, he dumped the cargo pallet. Jens went out next and I was right behind her. We were coming in low and slow and had to deploy our chutes immediately. I had on my NV and saw the cargo pallet floating down below us and Jens was already chasing it down. I was right on her butt. I looked back and saw the 727 booking it back in the direction it came from. We were truly on our own. The ground was coming up, so I dropped my rucksack, let it hit the ground, flared my chute, and lightly touched down. We quickly hit our chutes, opened the pallet, and geared up. Then we covered the pallet with a camo net. I dropped us over 5 clicks from the camp because if these guys were like the ones I'd fought at the base, they were pretty good and would probably have patrols and sentries. The base was located in a very large and wide box canyon, and we planned to get on a ridge where we could keep an eye on things without revealing our position. Okay, Jens, we need to beat feet for about 3 clicks and then G up, ghillie suite. We'll crawl the rest of the way. I want to be in position 1 hour before sunrise. Let on Ben and I will follow you. We set off at a steady pace across the rough ground. The waning moon provided just enough light for us to navigate without risking injury. Jens was right behind me, matching my pace step for step. As we approached the target, she suddenly grabbed my shoulder and pushed me down, dropping beside me. From her hand signals, I realized she'd spotted a patrol with 2 hostile figures up ahead. Damn, I had missed them completely. I pulled out my NV goggles, and sure enough, there they were, positioned in a small depression as if they were waiting for us. If Jens hadn't reacted in time, our mission would have been compromised. We carefully maneuvered around them, crawling toward our objective and giving them a wide berth. When we were finally at a safe distance, I whispered, What the hell were they doing way out here? I don't know, but I don't have a good feeling about this. Jens answered. I didn't have a good feeling either. It was going to be light soon, so we moved into a rocky area overlooking our target. Our ghillie suites allowed us to pretend to be bushes. I took out my rifles and made sure they were ready. Jens unpacked the camera gear and spotting scope from her pack and set everything up. She reached into her pack and threw me a square of Hudson Bay bread. Here's your breakfast for today. Thanks, Jens. You always take such good care of me. Jens pulled the scrambled sat phone out of her pack and made a call. This is Bravo Juliet reporting. We are in position and have eyes on the target. Then she killed the call. We both lay down and started watching the base. This was sure different than any Taliban base I'd ever seen. This looked more like a secure factory. They had concertina wire and a fence around the whole base, guard towers with machine guns and sentries walking the perimeter. I was trying to determine if they were trying to keep people in or out of the base. This place looks like a secure factory. I whispered to Yinz. That's exactly what I was thinking. I've never seen anything like this. She replied. Why don't you range me on some targets so we will be ready if it's needed? I asked. She looked through the spotting scope and gave me some ranges. I checked them through the rifle scope and we were ready. I was thankful it was fall because we wouldn't bake quite as much in the ghillie suits and under the camo netting. Yinz was busy taking pictures of everything and said, Ben, why don't you take a nap while I keep an eye on things? Thanks. Wake me in 2 hours and I'll let you sleep, I said as I lay my head on my pack and quickly fell asleep. Plus, Ben, it's time to wake up, Yinz whispered. I blinked my eyes and got them used to the light. Anything exciting happen yet? Well, it definitely isn't a factory. You should see these frickin' scumsuckers train. It's almost like they're Marines, she said. Let's trade places, and you can nap while I watch. We rolled past each other, and I copped a little feel of her butt. Hey, I'll give you about 100 years to stop that. Yinz grinned. Sorry, I guess all this waiting is getting me a little horny, I replied. She put her head on the pack and was out like a light. Damn, she was tired. I watched the camp with intense interest. Yinz was right, they were training the hell out of these poor scumsuckers. I took a bunch more pictures, concentrating on the men in charge of the training. Something didn't seem right about them. I cranked the zoom all the way up on the camera and I understood why. Those scumsuckers weren't Arabic, they were Oriental. I took a bunch more pictures, trying to catch their faces. I looked over at Yinz. She was peacefully snoring, and I decided to let her sleep longer. I wasn't tired and this was fascinating. It looked to me like they combined the best of all the services into the training on this base. I watched when one trainee must have done something wrong. The trainer pulled his pistol and shot him. The other trainees didn't even flinch and 2 of them sedate him off. I noticed some dust and pointed the camera towards the motion. A convoy was approaching the base. I started taking pictures as it stopped at the gate. The security was high and they searched all vehicles, one by one, before they entered the base. I made sure I documented all of it. The motor pool was off to the right of the gate, but the trucks didn't stop there. They headed over to another set of buildings. I followed them with the camera. When the trucks stopped, the trainees ran over, started unloading crates, and hauled them into some buildings. It was too far away to tell, but they looked like weapons. After they unloaded the crates, they went back to their intense training. I took the aerial map of the base and started making notations. I heard a siren sound, and the next thing I knew, everyone hid, and the base looked empty. I noted the time on the map and figured that it must have been a satellite flyover. 30 minutes later, they were training again. This time it was a live fire obstacle course. I watched as a couple of trainees failed the exercise and died for doing it. Yinz started yawning and stretching. Hey, how long did you let me sleep? I looked at my watch. Most of the day. You didn't sleep well the night before and I knew you were tired. You doing okay? Not bad. It's been fascinating watching the training. I've seen them kill 3 men today. I could use a break and some food. I replied. Okay, let me go take care of a couple of things, and then I'll whip us up some food and take over. She crawled out the back of the net and around behind some rocks. A few minutes later she was back. Phew, I feel much better now. She gauged the wind and said, looks like no hot food tonight. The wind is blowing towards the camp, and they'd smell it if we heated it up. She threw me a PBJ MRE. This is about the best one to eat cold. Then she dug into hers. I was hungry, and it was better than nothing, so I wolfed it down. You need to learn to eat slower, or you'll get sick someday. Yinz chided. I wanted to get this into my stomach before my mouth could taste it and complain. I slipped out the back and took care of some business. Came back and put my head on the pack. Wake me when you get tired, or if anything happens. We alternated through the night, taking turns watching the base. Nothing much happened, and it was boring as hell. Early the next morning, we were both awake. I looked over at Yinz. This is the worst part about being a sniper. Waiting for something or anything to happen. You could always recite some poetry for me, Yinz said. I looked at her as if she was crazy, and I figured, what the hell? Out through the fields and the woods, and over the walls I have wended. I have climbed the hills of view, and looked at the world and descended. I have come by the highway home. And lo, it is ended. The leaves are all dead on the ground, save those that the oak is keeping, to revel them one by one, and let them go scraping and creeping, out over the crusted snow, when others are sleeping, and the dead leaves lie huddled and still, no longer blown hither and thither. The last lone aster is gone, the flowers of the witch hazel wither, the heart is still aching to seek, but the feet question whither? Ah, when to the heart of man, was it ever less than a treason? To go with the drift of things, to yield with a grace to reason, and bow and accept the end of a love or a season. Jens looked at me, and a single tear went down her cheek. Robert Frost, I should have known. I don't know if I can listen to another one like that. Okay, see if you like this one better. I thought for a moment and started. Love is enough. Though the world be a waning, and the woods have no voice but the voice of complaining, though the skies be too dark for dim eyes to discover, the gold cups and daisies fair blooming thereunder, though the hills be held shadows, and the sea a dark wonder, and this day draw a veil over all deeds passed over, yet their hands shall not tremble, their feet shall not falter, the void shall not weary, the fear shall not alter, these lips and these eyes of the loved and the lover. She smiled at that one. I don't know the author, but I like that one a lot. It's William Morris, and I thought of it the first time I saw you. I answered. Hey, it looks like something is finally going on. There's another convoy coming, but this one is a lot different, Jens said. I rolled over, looked through my scope, and saw a bunch of Mercedes SUVs pulling up to the gate. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I was planning on being ready, so I readied my XM 1093. 3XM109 is a semi-automatic 25mm rifle that has a 17.6-inch long barrel and an overall length of 46 inches. It weighs in at 46 pounds and has a 5-round magazine. I cranked the BORS knob to the estimated range and waited. Jens had slid over to her spotting scope. We were both watching as the cars unloaded. Jens whispered, "Primary target of opportunity sighted." She took a bunch of pictures. "Range me, Jens." I said. "Range 2,105 meters. Wind 5 from 15 steady." I cranked the knob on the BORS to the exact setting, did the windage calculations, and lined up on the target. I braced the 25mm cannon against my shoulder and squeezed the trigger, losing sight of the target as the rifle fired. A few seconds later, "Damn fine shooting. You blew him to hell." I reacquired the next target and fired again, sending him to hell. Jens was frantically snapping pictures. By now they base had figured out something bad was happening, and they all ran or ducked for cover. I decided to raise some more hell. Jens ranged the front of the Mercedes for me. "Negative on that. Let's see what this rifle will do," and go after the C2CS4 building. "Aim at the generator at the back of the building. Range 2,005 3 meters. Wind 5 from 15 steady. 4 C2CS, command and control communication system." She was right. We needed to cut off their communications first. I made the adjustments, targeted the generator, and fired. Son of a bitch. Our cannon blew it to hell, and all the lights at the gate went out. Now the Mercedes, I heard her voice softly whisper, "First Mercedes 2,004 meters, wind 5 from 15 steady." I adjusted the BORS, put the mil dot on the engine compartment of the Mercedes, took a breath, let half out, and ticked the trigger. "Damn, you blew the hell out of the Mercedes." Second Mercedes, 2,010 meters, wind 5 from 15 steady. I scanned the first Mercedes as I lined up on the second one. It was a smoking wreck. I adjusted the BORS and took out the next Mercedes. We've got targets to the far left, moving around the building. Range 2,029 meters, wind 5 from 15 steady. I loaded another 5-round mag into the XM109, adjusted the scope, and swung around, spotting them heading toward a gun placement. I took out 2, and the third retreated behind the building. "Ben, that looks like an anti-aircraft gun. Try to take it out." Range 2,015 meters, wind 5 from 15 steady. I adjusted the BORS, took aim at the AA gun, and fired. "Good. It looks like you hit the receiver. Let's hope it's disabled." I took out the other 3 Mercedes. "Target the above-ground gas tanks, range 2,044 meters, wind 5 from 15 steady." Damn, this was a great target, and I wish that I'd thought of it. I cranked the BORS and found the tanks. "Close or far one?" I asked. "Close," Jens replied. I lined up the scope and thought for a second, readjusted my shot, and fired. "Damn, you went through both tanks." I reacquired the tanks and could see fuel spilling out of them. "Let's take out the trucks in the motor pool." Closest truck range, 2,016 meters, wind 5 from 15 steady. I acquired the target, blew it away, and walked down the line of trucks, blasting the hell out of all of them. "Looks like we have company," Jens said. "The frickin' shitheads are getting brave and have decided to try to charge us." I looked, and a bunch of them were headed towards the front gate. "I'll range the first ones and then move over to the 98 Bravo. Once they reach 1,500 meters, we can both fire." Range 1,903 meters, wind 5 from 15 steady. I adjusted the BORS and lined up on one of them, waited until he turned and started running straight towards us, and fired. "Damn, they explode when you hit them with that," Jens said. I estimated the meters to the next closest one, adjusted the BORS, and took him out. They finally got smart, fell to the ground, and started crawling towards us. They didn't realize we were still high enough to target them, so I made a couple of adjustments and took out another shithead. I heard the 98 Bravo bark and looked over at Yinz. I guess they're close enough for this now. At least we were too far away for them to use RPGs, Yinz yells. There's so damn many of them. She jacked another mag into the 98 Bravo. She was right. They were crazy and just kept coming. I was taking out the scumsuckers that were far and Yinz was nailing them. As they were getting closer, Yinz, we're going to need to get out of here and come back later tonight. Start loading up your gear and then cover me as I do the same. She threw everything in her pack and slung it on her back. Then she started firing the Bravo again. I collected my gear, slung the XM-109 over my shoulder, and started using my Bravo. We both jacked in a new mag. After this mag, we're leaving. I ordered. Yinz finished first and I took 2 more shots. Then we slipped down off the back of the hill and crawled into a little arroyo with an overhanging bank. Once there, we started to beat feet. I wanted to get about 4 clicks away up into the hills and hide out until tonight. After about 3 hours, we made it into the hills and found a nice cave to hole up in. Damn, it felt good to be out of the ghillie suit and feel the fresh air again. We sat back in the cool, dark cave and laughed. Yinz cooked up a couple of MREs while we were still laughing, and then we sat back to relax. I looked over at Yinz and said, Yinz, that was some damn fine shooting out there today. I couldn't have done better myself, and your ranging was spot on. She moved over beside me and started cuddling. Thanks, my dear. You were incredible. How's your shoulder after all those shots with the XM-109? I moved my arm. It's fine. She reached up, poked it, and I jumped. Like hell it is. I can tell it's bruised and hurting you. Take your shirt off. I looked at her, and she gave me the you'd better listen to me look, so I peeled my shirt off. She took a flashlight and looked at my shoulder. Phew, that's a nasty-looking shoulder. Let's see what we can do about that. She dug around in her pack and came out with a couple pills. Take these. I opened my mouth to argue, and she popped them in my mouth and handed me a canteen. They tasted nasty, so I washed them right down. Then she took a little bag and poured some water in it and banged on it some. This is like an ice pack. Put it on your shoulder. I held it up to my shoulder, and it felt much better. It was still early afternoon, and I said, let's catch a few winks so we can be ready tonight. One nice thing about the ghillie suits is they made it comfortable to sleep on the ground. Before we went to sleep, I went back down the arroyo that lead to the cave and set up a battery of tin claymores as a perimeter warning. I didn't think they would find us, but we really didn't hide our tracks when we came here. I knew I would sleep better if someone did come knocking and Mr. Claymore answered the door. We both needed to be awake and alert tonight for the plans I had. When I got back, Yinz had made us a nice bed of the ghillie suits. She was sitting in the middle of it and smiling. Come on, my big, strong Marine. Let's cuddle and fall asleep. We lay down beside each other, and Yinz fell asleep first. I thought how different this mission had been with Yinz on it. She was the best damn spotter and team member I'd ever had. I slowly drifted off to sleep. I was having a bad dream about being tortured and scorpions biting and stinging me when we were rudely awakened by the sound of the claymores. I set them up so the one closest to us would detonate all of them, and that would make sure that we would kill as many shitheads as possible. We both quickly sat up, and I looked out the mouth of the cave. It's just getting dark, and they must have tracked us. Let's get the hell out of here. We threw on our gear, slipped up to the front of the cave, and I peered out. The claymores must have worked because I didn't see anyone. We headed the other way, and I said, we need to loop back to the pallet and resupply for tonight. So we took off at an easy lope and chewed up the kilometers to the pallet. Yinz started digging around in the pallet and came out with a recoil shield. Throw this on under your shirt and see if it doesn't help. I walked over and kissed the hell out of her. Thanks for thinking of things that I never thought of bringing. Do you have any more surprises stashed in the pallet? I wanted to pack a mortar, but we ran out of time. Now I'm kicking myself in the butt for not doing that. Yinz stomped her foot as she answered. I had my shirt back on and punched myself in the right shoulder a couple of times. Thanks. I think this will really help. I pulled out the sat phone and made a call. Bravo Juliet reporting that 2 targets of opportunity were confirmed today and neutralized. This mission is no longer covert, and we have confirmed and engaged the enemy. I turned off the phone. Ben, let's hit them from the other side tonight. Yinz suggested, and it made sense to me. So we took off jogging to the other side of the canyon. The first patrol we saw was about 3 clicks from the pallet. It was a small patrol of 5 men. Yinz scoped them for about 15 minutes just to make sure it wasn't a trap. Sometimes these scumsuckers can be sneaky, but this was not one of those times. We dropped and shouldered our Bravos and flipped on the NV scopes. 5 shots later, the patrol was history. The Chinese had developed a method of slow and excruciating torture thousands of years ago called death by 1,000 cuts. Over the next few nights and days, Yints and I were going to inflict our version of this on the shitheads. You see, they made a huge tactical mistake when they set up this base. It was surrounded by high hills on 3 sides, and the hills were about 1,000 to 2,000 meters away from the base. I am sure it helped keep the wind and dust controlled for the base, but it was just perfect for our needs. Now comes the tricky part. We are not fools, and we knew the base probably had some fine shooters. We also knew those snipers had to be deployed by now. The trick was to be able to get into position to use the Barretts without being nailed by one of the shithead snipers. We knew the snipers would expect us to be in the hills around the base, and they would probably be back further from the rim. So, we had to clear the back hills one side at a time and not make a mistake doing it. We went back even deeper in the hills and started a slow crawl towards the rim. We did have a big advantage. The shitheads didn't have the IR blocking ghillie suits yet. It would be easy to get on high ground and scope the snipers from their IR signature. Once we hit the highest spot around, Jin started scoping. With the night getting cold, it didn't take long for her to scope the first shithead sniper and his spotter. Range me, Yints. Range 800 meters, wind 5 from 273, and gusting to 20. Shit, this wasn't going to be easy with the wind. I motioned for her that I was going to get closer, so she should keep eyes on the target and watch for anything else. We switched on our TAC radios, and I started crawling down the hill to get closer to the targets. I was about halfway to the targets and was getting ready to shoot when I heard 2 zings and matching moans to my left. Son of a bitch. She had saved my butt, again. Through my TAC radio, I heard her whisper in my ear. Sorry about that, Ben. I didn't see them at first because they were next to a rock outcropping that was still hot. I did get suspicious when the first 2 targets I scoped didn't look quite right. They moved too much to be snipers. Thanks, Yints. You saved my butt again. I pulled the 98 Bravo up, flipped the NV scope on, found the other 2 snipers, and took them out. Yints, do you see anything else? It's finally clear, Ben. Yints came down beside me, and we worked our way to the top of the hill and had a nice overview of the base at about 1,000 meters away. It was still pitch black. I looked at Yints and said, well, I think we have wasted enough time on this bullshit. It's time to wreak havoc on the base. I pulled out the XM109 and flipped on the NV scope. Yints pulled out her spotting scope and Bravo and fired things up. The NV on the scopes lit up the base better than daylight, and we could see the scumbsuckers moving around trying to fix things. I'll concentrate on the hardened targets, and you pick off the shitheads. I ordered. Yints gave me a couple ranges, and I cranked the BORS to the distance. She did the same, and we both started firing. The recoil shield took the edge off the recoil. I owe Yints big time for that, but I'll have to thank her later. My first target was some big ground-mounted tank. I blew a hole in the bottom, and something started leaking out. Yints was doing a great job picking off the rat scumsuckers until they figured out we were attacking again and went back in the buildings like rats crawling into their holes. The trucks were destroyed. The Mercedes were dead. The fuel was gone and the generator was blown to hell. I was running out of hard targets and decided to start firing into the buildings. Shit. I figured the 25mm round should go right through the walls and raise some hell inside. I started with the closest building and fired the remaining 4 rounds into the building. It must have done something because the scumsuckers started running out the front door, and Yints picked them off. Woohoo! Keep that up, Ben. The rat scumsuckers came out of the building. I jacked in a new mag. Yints, next target is the closest building where they store the weapons. I started firing randomly into the building, and the shitheads started running out. Yints was waiting, and hit most of them as they ran. I must have hit something good in the building because the next thing we knew, the building was on fire and more scumsuckers ran out. Yints was busy shooting them as I jacked in another mag and waited for Yints. She reloaded and I said, next storage building. And we opened up a can of whoop but on it. She didn't get a chance to fire at anyone this time because the whole building exploded, blowing the roof completely off and flattening the walls. She did see some rat scumsuckers looking out the windows of other buildings and started firing at them. I guess they figured that the buildings weren't very safe, so they might as well take their chances with us. They started swarming out of the buildings and heading towards our position. I switched over to my Bravo, and we kept firing. It looks like we're going to have to take off again. Let's empty this mag and get the hell out of here. I told Yints. We both finished and packed up. Just when we were getting ready to leave, we noticed a convoy heading towards the base. Yints covered me with one more mag and ranged that convoy. She pulled her Bravo around, emptied a mag at various targets, and then pulled up her spotting scope. Range 2,504, wind 4 at 15. I cranked the BORS and adjusted for the windage as Yints kept firing at the base. I fired and took out the lead vehicle's engine. It abruptly stopped and a bunch of shitheads started bailing out the back. I took out 4 more vehicles and said, it looks like they have reinforcements. We need to get out of here. I couldn't resist taking out the last 3 vehicles, so I jacked in a new mag and did just that. Now they were on foot. Let's get the hell out of here, I said, and we both jumped up and started trotting directly away from the base. We ran for about 2 hours and I said, I think with their reinforcements, we've done about all that we can do here. What do you think? Yinz didn't answer me. Yinz, did you hear me? I stopped. She stopped a little ways away, bent over and started throwing up. I ran over to her and grabbed her. Are you okay? We both slipped into a sitting position, Ben. I didn't want to tell you, but I think I'm really sick. I've been puking for 2 days, and the pain in my abdomen is severe. I felt her forehead. Shit. I think you've got a fever too. She puked one more time, shivered and passed out. I grabbed the sat phone out of my pack and made a call. Bravo Juliet here. We need emergency extraction. 1 team member is down. I gave them the rest of the details. The general came on the phone and told me they'd come and get us ASAP. I sat in the dark holding Yinz's limp body and praying to God that she would be okay and that they would get here in time. Afghanistan, day 14. I wake up, stretch, and yawn. What time is it anyway? I curse Hussein for stealing my watch. Someday, I'm going to take it off his limp, dead wrist. This is the first time I've slept without interruption since we've started this traveling show, and I feel great. I roll out the back of the truck, Dragunov in hand, and hear Zarika call from one hill and Yasmin call from the other. I wave to both of them and go take care of my immediate needs. I walk back to the truck and notice Zarika motioning for me to join her. I stretch a few more times and start jogging up the hill to see what she wants. Ben, how are you feeling? Zarika asks. I feel great. It was nice to sleep without being bothered. Has anything happened since I was asleep? We saw 2 large groups of trucks go by. One went very slow like they were looking for something. I don't like the sound of that. It's a good thing we hit our tracks very well. I think they were looking for us. I looked over and Yasmin was motioning for me. I'm going to see what Yasmin wants. When I get there, will you go down and start cooking? I will send her down to help. I ran down the slope, jogged across the little canyon and ran up the other side. Greetings, Yasmin. How are you? She smiles at me. I am fine now that you are awake. After you were so tired last night, I worried all day that you might be sick. It is good to see you. You look very well. Thank you. Today is the best I've felt in a very long time. Can you tell me anything else about the convoys? One looked just like the one with the blue circles on the door and was moving very fast. The other moved very slowly, and they had men on the roofs with binoculars. They were hunting for us. We made many enemies when we destroyed the last convoy. Thank you for helping hide the truck tracks so well. She smiles. I will go help Zarika make dinner. Then she scooted down the hill. I watched her and Zarika greet each other with hugs and kisses on the cheeks. They really have become sisters. I sit under a scruffy bush and scan the road for any signs of traffic, but I don't see anything. I feel anticipation welling in my soul. I know that soon we will be out of Afghanistan and into Tajikistan. Once we are there, the battles will be over, and the 3 of us can get to Dushanbe, the capital of Tajikistan, the American embassy, and home. I start to daydream, and Yinz's face looks so real that I reach my hand out and try to touch it. I try to stroke her golden hair, and to see those lovely violet eyes and those sexy smiling lips. I want to feel her embrace and share her passionate kisses. I yearn to again share my bed with the only woman in the world for me. How many months has it been? I look down at myself and how I have changed. I wonder about the changes in her. It seems a lifetime ago since we were together, and I promise myself that this time we will never be separated again. I decide it's time to end our self-imposed celibacy and make her my wife. Zarika's call snaps me back to reality. Dinner is ready, and I motion for her to bring it up to me. I watch her and Yasmin both coming up the hill. Ben, we decided we will eat like the family we are tonight. Yasmin says and hands me my food. We all sit, and this time when the girls pray, I pray too. They both smile at me and Zarika says, see, you can teach Ben some things. That gets Yasmin giggling. You can teach an old dog new tricks. I smile at her. Yasmin, I'm proud of you. You got the saying right. They both laugh. Then we practiced this so she would get it right. Zarika says. Yasmin stares at me. Ben, your eyes look different and I see a peace in your soul. I'm excited because we are very close to Tajikistan. Once we are there, the battles will stop. We will stop by Zarika's village and then travel to Dushanbe and visit the American embassy. Then we will all go to America. That gets the girls excited and they start chatting to each other. It reminded me of listening to a couple of birds. Ben, what if they will not let us into America? Zarika questions. I am sure that they will. I tell them. Then to address their fears, we decide on a contingency plan. They think the plan is good, so they no longer worry. Yasmin says, Ben, I can tell there is more that you are not telling us. I look at them and decide I don't want a war or a rebellion on my hands, so I lie to them. I'm just very excited to think about going home and taking you two with me. For once, a lie of mine works and I dodge a major bullet for now. I'm sure I will have to address the problem when we arrive in America. I reach in my shirt pocket, pull out a picture, and hand it to them. Ben, this is us at Mama and Papa's house. How did you get it? Ivan had an instant camera and took it for me. Zarika looks at the picture. Oh yes, Basma told me about the camera and how upset she was when Ivan took naughty pictures of her. She tore up the pictures and made Ivan sleep on the couch for 3 nights. Yasmin giggles. I chuckle to myself thinking the old reprobate still hasn't changed. If I did that to Yince, she would kick my butt. Ben, is this how I really look? Zarika asks. I realize that Zarika has never seen herself in a picture. Yes, Zarika, that's how we all look. I have 2 very young and pretty little sisters. She scrunches up her face and moves the picture closer and then further away. Finally, she says, I like how we look in this picture. I have never seen a picture of me before. It is different from a mirror. I do think I look a little fat. I know I need to handle this carefully, but Yasmin beats me to it. Basma says the camera makes everybody look a little fat. Is that true, Ben? People in America say that cameras make you look almost 5 kilos heavier. I answer. Then I think when I get to America, I will make a camera that is not broken like these, Zarika states. I stifle a laugh and say, I think that if either of you will be able to do anything you decide you want to do. We finish our dinner as the sun sets. It paints the sky with beautiful pastel shades of reds, oranges, yellows, and blues. A truly spectacular sunset. We rise and head down to the truck. I pull the map out and memorize our route for the night while the girls put the dishes and cookware away. The route looks easy, but I know that in these countries looks can be deceptive. The girls walk up and I show them where we are and where we have to go. Zarika gets very excited. Ben, tomorrow we will be in Tajikistan. Yes, we will. Have you thought how we will get a Chinese truck across the border? Yasmin asks. We both look at her and my mouth drops open. I have totally forgotten about that small detail. Zarika stomps her foot. She's right. They won't let us into Tajikistan with this truck, especially once they search it and find all the weapons. They'll think we're dangerous troublemakers. I look at the map, Zarika. Are there any places that we can cross the border where there won't be guards? Papa and my brother never could find such a place, she replies. How many men will be at the border? Not many, only 2 or 3. Then you can't kill them. They are my countrymen, and then we will be criminals. Zarika says, I will try to think of a plan tonight while I'm driving. Let's get moving. The girls make sure that the supplies are loaded in the cab, and we jump in and started to drive. They were tired tonight and fell asleep without their usual bedtime lullaby. My mind doesn't wander tonight because I have a very real problem to deal with. I need to figure out how to get across the border in this truck. It would have been easier with our old truck because it was obviously not Chinese. Even if we took the red stars off the side of the truck, you could still tell where the truck came from. I run a bunch of scenarios through my mind and come up with a couple that might work. I'll run them by Zarika tomorrow. I keep a close eye on the mirrors and the road ahead. I do not want to run into the Taliban looking for us. The night passes without problems. It's been calm, too calm. We're almost to the stopping point for the day, and it hits me. I kick the truck out of gear and let it roll to a stop. Screw me, I mutter. Zarika anxiously replies. Okay, Ben. I look over at her, Zarika. That was just an expression. She looks disappointed as she says, Oh, I thought you wanted me. You're my little sister, and I told you we can't do that. She changes the subject. So we didn't run into trouble last night? No, and I just figured out why. The Taliban aren't going to bother to look for us. They're going to wait at the border for us to come to them. She sits up and scratches her head. I think that you are right. What are we going to do? The first thing we're going to do is find a place to hide today, and then have breakfast. I have some ideas, and I need to see what we have in the back of the truck. Zarika pokes Yasmin. Hey, wake up, you lazy butt. We need to find a place to hide. Yasmin yawns and sits right up. I feel good today. It is nice sleeping through the night. Where are we? We're about 6 clicks from the border, and we need to find a place to hide for today. I think that I have a bunch of work to do on the truck. I answer. Why? Is the truck broken? She replies. No, but I think the Taliban will be waiting for us at the border, and the only way we will be able to get through them is to fight. If we have to fight a big battle, there are some things I can do to this truck that will help us win. I want to send all the assailant Taliban to hell to live with their god. Zarika proudly boasts. Well, I'm sure that we are going to do that to many of them. I just want to make sure that none of us get hurt. Let's find a place to hide. Yasmin starts scanning the area and says, I think I see something over there. She points to a little change in the hills. Let's go check it out. I reply as we head in the direction she pointed. It was much further than it appeared. Distances can be deceiving in this desolate place. We travel about 3 clicks and find a very small and hidden canyon beside a very large hill. I turn the truck around and back into the canyon. I go back and help the girls wipe out the tracks, and then I set up 3 improvised claymores. The girls are busy with breakfast as I pull out the map and figure out where we are. Zarika brings me my food. Ben, where are we? Thank you, Zarika. We are right here. I point on the map to Zarika. We are so close to home. Zarika excitedly says. I point on the map to the top of the hill, and we can see what it looks like at the border if we climb to the top of the hill. Yasmin overhears and the girls start arguing about which one will come with me. This time neither of you are coming. I need you two to be ready to take off with the truck if you hear any gunfire. But Ben, we will leave you if we do that, Yasmin complains. No arguments. I do not plan on firing on them, but if they start shooting at me, they will know that the truck is here and they will come after it. You will need to drive like the wind to escape, and I promise to keep the assailants from following you. Then I will come to find you. Don't forget about the booby traps. I plan on staying on top of the hill for many hours, so do not worry, and do not come up. I finish my breakfast, grab some gear, and head towards the top of the hill. It's long and steep, and I have to pause several times. I check the truck and the girls are both inside the cab and wave to me. It takes about an hour to get about 500 meters from the top. I drop to the ground and start crawling the rest of the way so I will not be seen. I crest the top and thankfully there are no assailants to be found. I'm glad they haven't figured out that I almost always use the hills. Hopefully, this will be the last time I have to do this. I slip to the edge, park myself under a wind-blown shrub, and rub my face with dirt to take off the shine. I peek over the edge and find my concerns to be well-founded. I count 10 vehicles that have set up a roadblock about 1 click this side of the border. Counting the assailants proves to be too cumbersome, so I give it up. The next 2 hours I spend watching them and trying to figure out a plan. Finally, I come up with something that might just work, so I slowly slip off the top of the hill and head back to the truck. The girls see me coming and jump out to meet me. What did you see, Ben? Zarika asks. I was right. There are many assailants and they are blocking the road. I think I know a way we can make it into Tajikistan, but it will be dangerous. We will fight with you, Ben, and we are not afraid. You have brought us this far, and we trust you. Yasmin bravely says. I hug both of them. This will not be easy, and we will need some luck. I will pray that God gives us luck. Yasmin continues. How will we get across the border? Zarika asks. You were right, as there are only 3 border guards. I think we will just drive right past them and crash through the gate. But you won't kill them, right? Yes, Zarika. I promise you that I will not kill them. I need to get some sleep right now. Tonight we will modify the truck and get it ready. First thing tomorrow, right at dawn, we will attack the assailants. Ben, that is wise because they will have morning prayers and will be distracted. Yasmin says. You're right, and that's why we're waiting until then. You two go stand guard, but do not go very far up the hill. Be sure to keep an eye on the top of the hill so they can't send any assailants over the top. I'm going to get some sleep. They took off, and when I saw they were in position, I crawled into the back of the truck and fell asleep. Dear listeners, next part of the story will be released soon. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.